What is going on, everyone? My name is Balguard, and we're back for some more content from the Heroes Legion 2021 World Cup. Now, before we get started, my opponent here today was Hyperion. I do believe his name is pronounced like that. So it's round 8, and we friends are playing against Kazakhstan. So my opponent, I already showed some of his matches that he played against Konstantin Valder. So I knew he was a big fan of Ahriman. And so I tweaked my decks to mostly play against his Ahriman. So let's just take a quick look at the lists right here. So my own Ahriman first, it's the deck that I play first. So we notice double and toe, Zakar of course, still one frontline because I still like having one frontline. Double card speeder, it's great, it's a good card against Ahriman mirrors. It really punishes the opponent if he forgets to give precognitions to all of his troops, and sometimes you can't afford to do that, so it's still a good card despite the precognition. Double Pi Alpha, we will need some healing. Mikachu Cabal comes in very handy, it's 1 free psychic power, we can precog it to deal a free 6 points of damage to the opponent. One Hara is still nice, double Doomrigger of course, double Mortar of course, and the rest is pretty standard. Just want to true chat to guarantee we don't have too bad of it. Alright, so I'm afraid I won't be able to show you the match the Ahriman mirror, because I love the replay. I just had time to pin the 2 others, and when I did that, the first replay just faded out. So I won't be able to show you this match, but I went for a very aggressive game plan with double and toe, and I ended up with a comfortable more than 10 HP. So it wasn't the most exciting match whatsoever. Then I played this Exodus deck. So classical list that I use most of the time. Double one of minis, double Harangs, double head into squad. This card is a real pain for Ahriman. It calls for Natural Warfare on its own. And like if Ahriman uses Warfare, first he made low roll, and then this survives, and it's a huge pain in his butt. Then he doesn't have the psychic energy to play an Ashen Blow, on the Serpent Squad, for example. So I was really confident with this list. It's a matchup I hate playing as the Ahriman, so I was like, okay, this should do the trick. Double one of minis, so it's hard for him to take us down too quickly. And if we can wish a harrowing, we should be good shit. Okay, and then, well, let's jump into this first game. So, here we go for the first game. This is the hand I had, and I kept it entirely. Like, Serpent Squad is the card I want to have, and Void Engagement is good. I could have discarded the Serpent Squad, but I'm confident enough that with my Warlord's ability, I will be able to fill my hand with useless traps, and that he will still have a pretty bad pattern of later portal. Now, this is even more true when you also have the counter attack, but yeah. Anyway, so I drew with a Void Engagement. I could consider keeping it until Patterns of Fate, but that's still not something I really want to do. So I would just like cloak my entire hand with useless traps and hope his Patterns of Fate gets bad. So he decides not to go face, and that's something I agree with. Like, I know not everyone agrees with this. Card of Call says you should always go face against Alpha Legion, and I'm not entirely comfortable with that, especially in this matchup. Because I feel like sometimes you will finally manage to get board control, and the Exodus will just snipe you if you're low enough. So here I top deck my Wand of Many, and despite the fact that it heals only for 2, I want to keep my stance for other things, and like, yeah, that's also a card that I'm happy to give him on his Patterns of Fate, but the tempo of just getting another Warlord is just so important. Like, it's more card draw, and it lets you know what you're going to be doing over the next few turns. So overall, it's mandatory to play that as quickly as possible. So now I just keep on filling my hand with more traps. I want to keep them for when I play my Serpent Squad. I'm really hoping I can draw into my Void Engagement. And here I see Uncto to my face, which is quite the bold move, I must say. This pretty much calls for an Ashen Blow, because there's no point leaving that alive if we could kill it with an Uncto. But okay, I'm not entirely sure I would have used it this way. I understand he wants to protect his thing as much as he can. And here I'm like, okay, so I have 1 stun, 2 stun, 3 stuns, and I can stun him forever, actually. So, what I'm going to do is I'm not gonna waste my Thunder Thunderhawk yet, because there it stuns only 2 targets, and I wanted to stun 3, obviously. I go for my Hydra Dominatus, hopefully he can draw it sooner than that. Also putting this down, I'm not entirely sure of that. This is probably a bad idea. Here I'm the luckiest man on Earth. It was 1 in 21. And yeah, that's life. Hey, anyway. So the bad idea with the Zviangto, something I didn't mention is that since I got Dynat and I was kind of forced to hero power into his thing, well, so the Zviangto didn't matter actually. So that's why I was even more comfortable with Zviangto hitting the Phantom Legionary rather than just throwing it to the face. Okay, so now I get my second Serpent Squad. I should have played the one that I kept in my opening hand. I don't know if my opponent is tracking down my cards. I do believe he's not because it's kinda late where he is, but this is not an argument, right? Okay, so here I go for the Melgator, and I think I'm gonna face bash too, yes. So I could have just hero powered into his 3-5, that would have been good enough, setting it up for Lambda Thunderhawk next turn. But yeah. We see Drilling Side, which is a card I kinda don't like in Ahriman, because I feel like your hand is gonna be bad most of the time, but since he also plays Lectitious Limitatus, it actually makes sense. Okay, so he has the second Ashen Blow, that's good for him, and now we're feeling kinda safe with our Serpent Squad. So now, what do? We have plenty of options here. I really wanna just set up a big, all I want to do is set up a big harrowing for next turn. So I'm just gonna kill this first and let the Melgator leave. Hopefully he will have Vulkan in hand still and I can kill that Izaka all with my Melgator. If he doesn't, that means he's forced to play 2 cards, and we're also fine with that. So here the not swinging the Melgator proves to be clutch. So that's what we wanted. Okay, we go for the harrowing because we have it, because Alpha Legion players, always have the harrowing on turn 8. Turn 8. And thus we are able to cleanse his entire board. So very, very good hands that we had here. But here, as you can see, the pressure doesn't stop, and he's still at 15, so I can't just snipe him right away. Just imagine if he had gone face like three more times, then it could be hard for him actually from that spot. Right. So now the issue I have is he can't play Astro next time. That's a good thing with the City of Light he had. It's because he had it early, and he also had 2 psychic powers. Now, if he has Astro Warfare, it means that he drew 3 of the psychic powers while having the City of Light, while also having his Pentedas, his Ezaka all, and 2 of his Doombringers all in the top 13 of his deck. I guess that's an argument for playing Lectitious Limitatus, but that's not. I feel like this is still very good draws for my opponent. So that's not the way I like to play Ahriman, but here that proves to be clutch. So we are both high rolling, that's what I want to highlight. I'm high rolling a lot more than he is, but he is also high rolling, having a very, very decent hand. Okay, so my issue here is that he can just ask for Warfare me. And if I play Serpent Squad, and let's say whatever, just a stun here, and just deal 2 points of damage, then the issue I have is that if he high rolls on his warfare, like if he just rolls a 4 with the 1 in 2, then I'm completely out of steam and I can't quite get rid of this Doombringer. So first, before I do anything, I really want to get rid of his Doombringer. But that's kind of playing around the card. He has only 4 cards in hand, but anyway, it's still not unlikely that he has it. And this is also some good pressure, you know? If, for example, he can't get rid of them, then I can very simply just kill him, you know? Okay, so he does have the Astro Warfare, and he really wanted to deal these 2 points of damage. Luckily for us, only hits 2 on the face, and here the pressure doesn't stop. The Yutzi now. Now I can see... I'm not entirely sure what he will bring Yutzi to his deck. Maybe he was expecting Vulkan, which I'm fine with, obviously. And now I'm in this not very comfortable spot where I need him to not have any kind of anti-stealth. I could also play the head-on squad, but like it doesn't really matter. It's either he has anti-stealth or he doesn't. So I will just charge up my what ability. This doesn't get stealth, so that's so he could just send Uzi at it or whatever. It doesn't matter at this point. And here he doesn't have his anti-stealth. And I don't know, maybe to play all the Letizios and City of Light and Drilling Site, maybe he removed the full fight that I'm using in my deck. We can't know for sure. But anyway, he didn't have it, and we are leading 2-0 now. Again, I can't show you guys the first game, and I'm very sorry about it, but that's what it is. So, I need to play my Vulkan next, and I have two choices for my Vulkan. This is my Emperor's Vulkan. I will just let you take a quick look at it in case you want to. I wouldn't advise it for ladder. I haven't tried it a lot, but I feel like you're gonna get overwhelmed by most of Solar Auxilia deck. You really need your hammer, you really need your Ashen Bones, but I mean, Valerius comes before you can answer it with the hammer. You will be under a lot of pressure before that, and you will struggle to take board control, especially against things like Brantan or Lucretia, or even against Knight. All of these Solar Auxilia deck are gonna be a real pain in your ass. Okay, so here's what I played, and this is my control Vulkan deck. It's one I tailored specifically to fight against Ahriman. Like, I was searching for a deck that could handle Ahriman, and this is what I came to. So my idea is that instead of many mid-range starties that are not gonna do anything because they're just gonna get Ashen Blown and he will have tempo and then will be like, can I play my Fire Race or my Focus Squad? And he will just play Mercator and completely out-tempo this. So we can't play for tempo, so we need to play for control. We need to play for the late game. So this is what I came up with, and here's the idea. We have lots and lots of AoEs, double Scorched Earth, double Death Sets. We also have one of the Siege, which is really good in Ahriman. Sometimes it would be very clutch. I have also this Earthsea. Of course, it sucks a bit if he copies it, because then he can get rid of our Doombreakers or our Darkleer very easily. But we don't want to need too much. Like, just look at the curve of our deck, and anything below 4 points of energy, say maybe for the Rastan, is absolutely trash for him to get on Patterns of Fate. And just like with the Trap deck, no, not the Trap deck, it's not a Trap deck, with the Exodus deck, we can put in a lot of traps, except that these are not traps, these are teachings. The only difference is that they go in a hand, but they're still pretty trash decks. Okay, so also I have one Sabotage to maybe remove Recognition from one of his troops. I also have, maybe I could remove Scorched Earth for yet another Last Rifle section. It's probably slightly better. Just because the rifle doesn't do damage to the face. With the Jewback, it's always nice. Yep, that's pretty much the list. I could maybe remove Watercraft from my deck, but he ran all the decks to not only Ahriman, so I was thinking maybe he would play something else. Such matchups in which Watercraft will be very good, like Horus, for example. Watercraft is not very good against Horus, but it can be very helpful. Okay, so let's jump into the game then. Okay, so opening hand is absolutely trash. Don't want either of these in our hand. Like, it's terrible news if we give him Iria or Doombreaker on the Patterns of Fate. Like, Iria is very hard because we will need... Well, he can't pay anything else, but it doesn't damage itself by attacking the Warlord, so Ashen Blow is not enough to get rid of it. We also need something like Last Rifle or... Burnt Earth, Scorched Earth. Okay, so here I just play this. I want to keep my Command Bridge for later on. I don't want to play it now. Firstly, because it ruins his Patterns of Fate. And secondly, because I don't know exactly what I will want in my hand. Maybe I will want a Neo Dracula to push at a very specific timing. Maybe I will just want an Ashen Blow. Maybe a Death Stat. Who knows? So here I don't play the supply lines, and that's very counterintuitive, but again, I don't want to... I prefer to give him supply lines as the Patterns of Fate 100%. I really don't want to give him a Darkleer. I'm fine with him just playing a supply line for 4. It's a lot less tempo than an actual thing. I could possibly swing here and play my Sorrow, But I'm thinking that the Pattern of Fate is so trash already that I don't want to take the risk of taking something expensive that will be a good spot, give him a good pattern. It's still unlikely, but like here is to see he still got the best card in my hand. Like it's not lucky for him. I wouldn't count him lucky on that one because I've been lucky to draw shit cards. But that's how it is. Okay, so here I go for the drilling sites and I play that clear. So in his hand I know that there are 2 vehicles. Yeah, it's pretty likely that he has Action Blow, but just in case he doesn't have it, we're gonna be good with that. I could also have played just Sour here, just to get extra value on this 2-1. And also I shouldn't have swung with it. Here I'm being very lucky that he hits only a 2. But anyway, since he decides to get rid of it with that, it seems like, I don't know his end for sure, but it seems like it was only 5 that was a really good eyeball. And that all of the other wolves were actually good wolves. So the 2 is not that lucky. Even, he had to get rid of it. The luck I had is because he didn't have Ash Blow, obviously. So now my hand is pretty terrible, and that's why I kept Command Bridge for. I had the choice between Death Sat, Scorched Earth, and Oracle. And I'm like, okay, since I really don't have anything else to play next turn, I should go for the Oracle. So now a mistake in me. Either I should not keep the Sorrow for actually taking some value out of it. Either I should play the Sorrow first, see what I draw, and then pick a better suited card with the Command Bridge. Okay, so now I'm thinking that I kinda need to get rid of that, but unfortunately I can't do that just now. I don't have my Ashen Blow. Okay, so it was very likely that he had Doombringer in his hand, just because he played 2 supply lines. We gave 1 to him. Here I go face, I'm feeling confident, so it's probably a bit cocky. I probably don't need to do that. I'm like, okay, my hand is so trash that I need to do that, but it's probably not that likely. He hits a 5, which it's bad news, but it's just 3 points of damage, it's the difference. And since he has his Fancy Dust, it actually doesn't matter that much. He could take 2 points of damage. A 2 would have been extremely nice for us here, but like it's not that mandatory. Okay, so now I go with the Death Sat first. If needed, I can also follow up with my Scorched Earth. It's not needed, so I just go with that. So now I'm keeping Megaton in my hand, and you might wonder why. We had a very similar case the previous game, where I had the choice to play Melgator or just to stand his Fancy Dust. In the previous game, you noticed that I actually played Melgator. And that sets up a nice scene for a Melgator class. We should play Melgator as a tempo reversing tool. Not as a... how can I say it? So what I mean is that here, if I play Melgator, I still have 0 tempo. He has some tempo here, and I don't. If I play Melgator, then I still don't have tempo, and he still does, and yet he doesn't have any. But he will get it back very easily, because I don't have it. So the way you want to use Melgator is when you actually have a board, when you actually have tempo and pressure, and just to completely reverse the pressure from your opponent. So this way, he can't use his tempo, he can't use his pressure, his board control to get rid of fuse. But here it doesn't do anything, it's just a kind of waste of time, but we are in a state in the game where we both have time. So it's a bad spot for Melgator, and I should just be patient and play my soccer handlers. Okay, moving on. See, like this doesn't do much, right? And if he doesn't play something big like Hydra, okay, he does have Hydra, and that was to be expected because he played supply lines earlier. But anyway, like, not having the 3-4 now doesn't really matter. And see, it's just gonna die. So I was thinking of what I should do, and I had a couple options here. But I'm like, it would be very nice if I still get now I have the tempo to play Jubak. Now he needs something to answer Jubak. We saw one Doombringer already, we saw one vehicle, we saw the two vehicles that he played with his plans, so maybe he doesn't have it. Fortunately for us, he does have it, so he can get rid of the Jubak, but we don't have anything yet to answer it. And you might think that Megator is not a dead card, but like, what would a bounce back put back into the safety of his hand, while I can just kill him with my AoEs. Okay, with Tabak Urzi, which is really good. I would be glad to actually keep it for a second Doombringer, for example. So that's what I'm going to do. Maybe he runs 2 Hydras, because he knew I would play Vulkan, and I do believe there was actually some time between 3 games, enough time for him to tweak his list a bit, as you should do in a tournament. So, I'm thinking, okay, well yeah, we also didn't see any of his mortals, so it's a very vehicle-heavy list, and that's the way you should go against Vulkan most of the time. Now, I do believe that this list, he didn't know about it, and even if he did, there is not much he can actually do about it. So here's exactly what I meant, right? So now, you can see that he does have some tempo with his mortar. That's something I need to answer if I really want to nail the game. Because a high roll from the mortar can always swing back the game, you know? So here, we both have some tempo, and now I use my Melgator to get rid of the mortar, and I have all the time in the world to simply develop my Fire Drakes. I do believe he still has 1 Action Blow, so he could potentially answer that, and also play back the mortar with something else. He still has 6 cards in hands, you know, so the game is not over at this point if he has Action Blow. If he doesn't, then it's over. But if he doesn't have it, we're all good to go. Okay, so we see Engto, and this Engto tells you it doesn't have Ashen Blow. It's still in the bottom 11 of his deck, which is nice. Now that's a bad idea, I think, for him, because he can still top deck his Engto. Maybe he also runs Book of Magnus. I haven't seen him play the card in a while. I can't remember if he played it against Constantine Balguard, but probably either he played both of his Ashen Blow and I'm just being stupid, either he didn't, and then he should just go with the counter attack and wait a turn. Like, see, just imagine here, if he had played the Engto here, he could have guaranteed that this will hit the Fire Drakes. He probably got bored of this game because we had answers to everything, and the previous game was very tilting for him. Also, the first game was also tilting like that. However, the Minatus top deck, you gotta be very strong mentally, very in a good mood, like it's Christmas and you receive the gift you've been creating for an entire year, or you just retrieve your socks from the depths of the washing machine. Otherwise, you're in a rightful position to just smash your face through your PC, curse me, and move on. Okay, so anyway, he did go for that line of play, and there, if I remember correctly, he just succeeds. We still had the OT, we still had the death stat, we still had things to move on, keep going with the game, so overall it seems pretty unlikely to me that he could be able to win this one. So these were the 2 games that I had to show you guys today. They are pretty insightful, I think. I'm kinda glad of the way I played them. I really feel bad for not being able to show you the first game. It wasn't the most exciting one, there are still a couple of decisions to make in terms of Ahriman Mirror. If you want to know more about Ahriman Mirror, and I don't think you do, because Ahriman is not a very good spot right now in the meta, especially the classical vehicle version. We do see a couple of Solar Auxilia decks, but they are slightly different, right? There are slight differences, I mean, right? So if you want to see some insight about Ahriman Mirrors, then I strongly recommend you to go and watch the video of me playing against Vapix, either on my channel, either on his. You'll be able to see my pretty nice face on my channel, and you see Vapix's pretty nice face on his, obviously. So that was all for today. Thank you guys for watching. I will be back soon, very soon, with some more exciting content. See you, take care.